Susanna can't. I think we're live on both. We are live on both. We're live on both. We've got a couple of minutes anyway. Hold on. Maybe no, I can't end broadcast. Otherwise, I'll end broadcast. I can't end broadcast because I'll end broadcast. Yeah, Susanna can't make it because she's got to take her daughter somewhere. She's gutted. She wanted to be here too. So, hello everyone watching. You're just going to wait a few minutes. We're going to start at 11. We're just having pre-chats as we do. It's a lovely day. It's very windy in the UK, isn't it? What's it like, Linda, where you are? Oh, you're in Aaron. You're in the UK too, aren't you?
Yeah. So.
No, it's not particularly. Not much.
That's good.
No, it's cloudy.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Yes, cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Yeah.
Got a beautiful sunshine in the south of France today.
Is it?
So,
yeah, us too.
And last night was absolutely phenomenal. There were so many shooting stars in the sky. It was a while since I saw that many. And there was one that I saw like starting from scratch. I'm staring at that star. And the next thing, something just flashed out and it starts to go. Something else starts to go. And I followed it for such a long time. It was just amazing. I was sitting in there outside looking at the sky, and the moon was like phenomenal. Have you seen how beautiful and bright the moon was last night?
It was, yeah.
Yes, it was.
I'm going to
we
share
had a thunderstorm as well, and that was quite impressive.
Oh, did you? But you're in Southwest, aren't you?
I hope you made some wishes.
France, yeah.
I hope you made some wishes on the shooting stars. I'm just going to share it on everyone's page that I can. Hold on.
Did I make a wish? I'm not sure. Actually, I think I was so taken to see it was like the start of that star. I was really looking at this one particular big star. The next thing, something shooted out of there, and that's it. And the other star stayed. That was amazing. It almost broke into two. It was like an explosion in that star. Wow. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Look, I can almost visualize it. No, in fact, I can visualize it. So I'm almost there with you. I'm almost there. Oh, gorgeous. Okay, hold on. Let's just share that. I'm sharing what I can. Maybe I'll share it. Okay, right. Let's just turn that off. I think I've shared it to everyone's page that I can anyway. That I can. Right. So we're pretty much there. We're pretty much at 11 a.m. We are. So I'll start. Let's start. So good morning, everybody that's watching on Facebook, YouTube, friends that we know, friends that we don't yet know, friends that we are knowing right now, and friends that we're going to know. Morning. So today we're going to be talking about perception, but in NLP terms, it's actually called reframing. So in life, just as a picture frame puts like borders or boundaries on what you see in a picture, we choose, as a result of our beliefs, different frames we put them in, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive others, how we perceive our roles in life, our situations that we go through, limitations and skills, all the perceived things that we put a box around and we put a frame around. And it can limit exactly what you see as possible, and you can open up all different types of opportunities and possibilities by choosing a different way to look at that situation. And we're continually doing this throughout life and throughout our journey. So if there's a few key tools that people do tend to do, that you can change quite easily. And as you all know, I really try and be a positive person. I focus very much on the positive, and I look from that kind of a perspective. Obviously, I'm human, and I do have my days where the technology goes mental, or the dog's going upside down, or the kids just don't stop eating and stressing, and I'm like, help, So I'm a human being, and these things happen. But if you can just give yourself that little bit of a break, that little bit of a rest, and sort of like step back and look at that situation in a different way and go, okay, so my kid's going mad for more food, so that means he's going to grow to be nice, big and strong. That's a nice frame to put on it instead. Let's feed him. I want him to be big and strong. Or the dog's upside down, but that's okay, because if the dog wasn't upside down, it would be at my feet nipping my toes. So that's all right. We can deal with that. So it's all different ways of how you look at a situation. That's so random, I know, what I've just talked about. But a lot of things of what we go through and everything can be changed by different perspective and words. Our words are so incredibly important, and I'm a writer as well, so to me words are everything. So I'm quite aware of what comes out of my mouth on a regular basis, and I try to always look at different perspectives and to say, okay, so I'll give you an example and then I'm going to move to someone else, because I do tend to ramble. But the other day, it was about a year ago now, but this is a really good example that I like to choose. I was at my dad's house when we were actually allowed to be in each other's company, officially, nice. But during the good old days, I was at my mum and dad's house, and we were there for breakfast because Ethan was going to go to school. So we were sitting down having breakfast, and it was the postman that delivered some letters. And I said, "Oh, it's the post." And he looked at me, he goes, "Oh yeah, it's just the post. This is my dad." I said, "Oh, what do you think it's going to be?" He goes, "Bills, bills, bills. It's always going to be bills, bills, bills." I looked at him and I went, "Dad, how about you stop what you're saying and you reframe it and you say, I'm going to be getting checks coming through." He looked at me, he goes, "Don't be silly, Danielle." He goes, "Never get checks. It's always bills, bills, bills." I said, "Dad, try it. Try saying, I'm going to be getting today's checks. He goes, "God, okay, Danielle, checks. I went, "Good. Go and get the post." He went and got the post. He comes back and he starts opening all the posts, as he does, right? Going through all his posts, opening it, putting it down on the kitchen table. I'm sitting there with Ethan. Open it. Gets to the last letter and he opens it. And he just stares at it and he looks at me. He looks at me like that. And I said, "What is it, Dad?" And he's just looking at me. He's really quiet. And I said, "Is it a bill, Dad?" He goes, "No, it's a check." Oh, well, I laughed. I flipping laughed. And I said, "You see, because what we're attracting with our words, it's so powerful. We are designing our life. We're designing our world. And I think it's so amazing that we can do this. And everyone can experiment with that, stopping what they're saying. If it's something negative, maybe rephrasing it and looking at what it could be, the possibilities, rather than what you think it might be, which is attracting negative. So I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to move on. So let's go to Linda. You are next to me today. Good morning, love.
Okay, lovely. Good morning. So, okay, yes, so I've been thinking about this and thinking about what I want to say about it. What I always like to do is put things in a way that makes sense to everybody. Because all of us here, we've done a lot of training, we've had a lot of experiences that can give us these fancy ideas. And so they are bread and butter to us. They are our foundation for our lives, and we know and we trust them. But we're talking to people today, aren't we, who may have already chosen to disbelieve because they don't really understand or see how it can be true. So I was coming from that position this morning, and I thought I'd like to put this in a way that's understandable. So another thing that we get from NLP, which is perception too, is our presuppositions. Can you still hear me? I can see I've frozen.
You're frozen, but I can hear you. So keep going because it'll reset. Just keep going.
Good. So presuppositions. So presuppositions are those things that you decide ahead of time. Ahead of time. You've already decided, like your dad had decided, got a presupposition that the mail only brought bills. That was his presupposition. I've made some notes. I'm going to unashamedly look at them because
you carry on. You're frozen, so
anyway. That's all right. So So do those presuppositions have power? How on earth could they have power? Well, this is how they have power. Let us say that you've got some presuppositions about relationships, romantic relationships. So before you've had any, so you're in your teens, you're just about to embark on romantic relationships, and you've already got the presupposition. Let's have a couple of choices. So maybe you've decided that men are untrustworthy, and that they don't really understand women. Maybe that's how you have seen this, what your experience has told you, or what you have noticed. Or you could have the presupposition that men are strong and aim to support their women. So how can what you think make either of those come true? How could that affect you? Because this is where we need to go into a little bit of neurology and psychology here. Because the way our mind is set up is to always seek security.
Yeah.
We get security from our external life, things externally matching our beliefs. That's where we get security. Oh yes, I thought men were no good, and now look, it's been proven. So we're always, so our unconscious mind, not consciously, our unconscious mind is always manipulating us to make our life match our beliefs, because then it will have done its job of making us feel secure. Yeah. So it would manipulate how we relate to men, how we behave to them, what we speak, what we say about them, to them. And there you go. All of a sudden, it's all come true. It's not the truth. It wasn't a fixed truth in the beginning, because we all know, don't we, that there are women that have a different presupposition about men, and they seem to be doing all right. So yeah. It's not the truth. What it is, presuppositions, perception, what it is an idea. And I think that's the important thing to know, is it is just your idea.
That's right.
I would say this is the one thing that will change your life the most, is if you can get hold of this idea that what you think, how you have framed things, is just your idea. If it's a beneficial idea, because your mind is going to make it match, so if it's a beneficial idea, that's great. If it is a limiting idea, if it is not something you want, then it's necessary, it's imperative to change it. And one of the ways I've thought of a little way of doing that as well, because it's easy enough to say, oh, you need to be different, isn't it? It's not always easy to be different. The thing I like is, so we become aware, oh yes, the male only brings bills. Okay, that's not what I want. Is that what I want? No. So the bridge to changing it would be these words. And, not but. Unfortunately, it's not but. And what if it doesn't? That will allow your mind to let go of that first perception, yeah, and search for another. Very, very fast, because it's a fork in the road, isn't it? Yeah. These things are a fork in the road. So your dad's looking down the Bills Road. Well, he's got his feet on the Bills Road, hasn't he? Yeah. All that's needed is using language, as you say. Language is so important. Is using your language. Let your mind let go of that for a moment. Yeah. And look down another road.
And also, just to say that as well, it's like the bills that he's paying are enabling him to get the things that he wants and loves. So that's the other way.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for these bills because it means the company that I'm paying has done a good job, hopefully. Otherwise, you don't pay
Absolutely.
bills.
Because he could get rid of those bills anytime he wanted. He could move out of his house, live in a tent,
Yeah, my dad
in a shop doorway, any time he wants. Honestly, those bills are not actually a negative thing. I think that's the other thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. What you think doesn't have to be the truth. It usually will not be. It's your version of the truth.
Exactly.
Isn't it? It's our version of facts. It's not. Sometimes you can say, well, it's a fact. Your dad could say, well, it's a fact that the bills are coming in. Look, here they all are. But as you say, is it a fact that bills are bad?
Exactly. Right.
No.
Linda, thank you so much. That was awesome. We got there. Your words of wisdom still came through, even though in certain places you were like a piece of art.
Yes.
So we're going to Aaron, because Aaron, you're next to Linda. We're going in a
Alrighty.
So morning, my darling. How are you?
Morning. I hope you're all doing great.
Linda, will you mute your mic a minute? Because I think it's reverbering, I think. That's it. Thank you, darling. Perfect. Right, Aaron, my love.
I like what Linda said about changing the perception using the right language. That she said that instead of using but, which creates resistance, using and, which kind of creates a new avenue of redirection. I really like that.
Yeah.
And also, I also agree with with you, Danielle. The words create your world, and the questions we ask ourselves. So when something happens to us, asking how that might have benefited us is just so crucial to start thinking about the positives and also the benefits in your experiences. And I think to have that kind of freedom about the emotion, because that's what we want when we change perspective, that we want to have the freedom about the emotion, that negative emotion, to change it to positive. So it empowers us instead of keeping us trapped in the past. I like what Linda said about the presuppositions that kind of drive all of these layers above. So, and I like to call these presuppositions as core beliefs. It's just I don't know, it's just me, but it kind of resonates with me. So changing these core beliefs is really crucial because that determines how you perceive certain situations. So I like to cite an example too, as we're all evolving in this aspect, even though we're NLP practitioners. So recently, I reached out to one of my friends. We've been friends for 20 years, and he didn't respond, and he didn't message me back. And then eventually he did. We set up a time for a call, but then he didn't show, and I was kind of ticked off because deep down I thought, he didn't respect that. I reached out, we arranged a call, he didn't show up. Eventually we had the call, and it turned out he was not having a good time, and he did not want to share his negativity. So we had a great empowering conversation. 2 months later, I reached out to him again, and just to see how he was. He said he'd like to have a talk. We arranged the time again. He didn't show up, and kind of ticked me off because I guess we all have it in us that, okay, well, that kind of behavior does not respect me, right? Because I showed up, I kind of prepared for this nice conversation, and you didn't show up. You didn't even send me a message that you're not going to show up.
Yeah.
And it kind of ticked me off. But then I thought about it, and because of this core belief I have that everybody is doing the best they can with the resources they have available, or their beliefs and understanding of situations at any given time, I thought about what could possibly be going on in his life right now that he's not responding to me. And that kind of shifted my perspective. I was no longer angry with him. I kind of looked at it from a different view.
Yeah.
And maybe the viewers can relate to this kind of situation. So I have my arms open, for him. So there's no resentment.
No.
And that happened because of a change in perception.
It's perfect.
So that's just
wonderful. Yeah. And the thing is, all we can do is change our reaction to a situation and not anyone else's situation that they're in and they're going through. That's for them to change, for them to come to the point where they are ready to change their perception of their situation so that they're ready to move on. So yeah, no, that's totally. And how many everyone goes through things like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, and just knowing that is a way to move forward is so powerful as well, just to acknowledge that and to let it go, because is it really important? No, because you're always going to be there for each other. If the worst came to the worst, or thick and thin, if that's the relationship you've got, that everything will override any underlying core problems, So yeah, I think that's beautiful. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. So Kate,
can I just add a little bit? Go on. Can I just add a little bit first, Kate? Is that all right? What I'm amused at, and we all do it, I do it, is how we immediately think it's about us.
Yes.
It's him that's not turned up, but the first thing we might think is, oh, what does that mean about me?
Yeah, what have I done wrong?
Yeah, or why he's not respecting me, or I've done, what about, it's all that toddler voice, isn't it? What about me? Yes, but what about me?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Linda. Yeah, it's true. It is, yeah. And just thinking that it's something that you've done wrong. What have I done wrong? You're thinking back, is it anything? It's like almost a victim mentality that you need to go back and fix that yourself, because, that's where the problem is, not necessarily what's happening now. Kate, you beauty.
Hello.
Hey,
hi guys. Just following on from what you guys have said already. Part of it was what Aaron was saying, was like about how we mind read, don't we, other people, and make assumptions, to be called presuppositions, beliefs, whatever it is, assumptions, lies, whatever you want to call them, ideas. They're all things that we make up, aren't they? And so it's first understanding that what I believe cannot be absolutely true. It cannot be, because not everyone believes what I believe, and so it can't be true. Otherwise, everyone would think the same way in this same situation and act in the same way. So there must be part of this is made up. So how much of this is true and how much isn't? And there's quite a good exercise we could maybe do at the end if we have time.
I'd love to, absolutely.
Which can sort of question those beliefs, and then try and find out what's true, or at least loosen it up a bit, because all you really need to do is find something about what you believe that isn't true, just one little thing, and then the whole thing kind of collapses, doesn't it? Because it's all built on all these little pillars that we've made, and you just take one away and the whole thing falls over, and then you're free to behave however you like. And that's so freeing. It's so, it's a light feeling. You're not carrying around this burden, I have to be this way, or I am this way. How often, like you're saying, with language, do we program ourselves to say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, or I'm not good at this, or I'm this type of person, or labels. God, the labels we give ourselves, and not only about our behavior, but about our health. A doctor gives you a label, and suddenly, oh, I'm a diabetic, or I'm depressed, or whatever, and you get these pills that tell you you've got this label's true about you, and so all these other things then, and so if I'm that must mean this about me, and then you attract all these other things to yourself. And what if you could say, okay, there's actually no label that fits me. I'm unique, I'm me, and even my name, I didn't even choose my name, that was given to me. And so all these labels were given. What do they say about you, and how much do you want to live up to those labels, and how much are they running your life, and how could you maybe just say, I reject all of them.
Yes.
And I'm still me. And who's that? And then you can start from that place. And I love it when I work with people and strip away all the labels and all the flags that they're flying, you know, I'm this, I'm that, and everything else. And so we go, because I've moved countries, and like Marie has done recently as well. And so, you know, I'm now I've got a different flag and a different language, but that doesn't make me any different to who I am inside. No. And yes, your experiences as you grow up make a big difference to who you become and how you behave. But are they really you? And who is the real you? And what labels do you want to put on that? Or do you want to just be free and say, okay, I am in this moment? Because let's face it, the past is an idea. It's memories, but they're all done through our filters, all held through different beliefs that we had at the time. So what I believed 10 years ago, I don't believe now. So those memories must be lies as well for me now, in my life now. And then going in the future, what do I believe about my future? What's possible for me? And all these beliefs I have out there, and what am I going to live up to? And what can I just leave behind? And who can I become? And when you start thinking about all these ways we label ourselves and give ourselves boxes to fit inside, then, as you say, all these boxes are made out of all these beliefs that we have, and maybe memories from the past and experiences we've had. But it's the meaning we put on them that makes the thoughts and the behaviors that we have in the present right now. And so if you just change the meaning, you can change anything and become anything and be anything.
Absolutely.
So that was just my initial thoughts on that. Just we talk about limiting beliefs and things like that, but they don't have to be limiting. You know, beliefs can be very powerful. As you were saying before, you know, let's just believe the checks are coming, not the bills. Or let's just change the meaning of what a bill is. And suddenly you're released from that sort of pressure and negativity and everything else. But you're still, life's still the same. The same things are going to come at you. It's just how are you going to see them? What meaning are you going to put on them? And also, how are you going to limit yourself?
Sorry, and all that's exactly right. And also, just because I've got a reverb going on as well, haven't I? Is there a reverb?
No.
Okay. Just in my head. So also having Hashimoto's, because I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease, but it's almost like Hashimoto's is its thing. That's the label. But because of this, I have managed to do so many different things in my life because I've had to prove to myself that I can do them and that I am capable of doing certain things. Like, is your disability really an ability to do other things? Looking at what you've got and seeing actually it's almost a gift, because without those things, you may not have got to the places where you are now or where you want to be, because it's almost like that gave you the tools. If that's part of you, that's something to be cherished and loved, because if there's nothing you can do about it because it's part of who you are, then accepting it and using that to push forward to greater things, you know, like the disability, the Olympics, these most incredible people that have a technical disability, but in their lives they've excelled, and they do excel, and they're so much more powerful than, well, me for a start, you know. And I'm in awe because, like, I think that we have so much power within our situations and our control. And Susanna's here as well. Holy macaroni! Susanna's here. Susie. Yeah, we have so much power over our lives that we don't give ourselves credit for. If you just finally relax the hard shell and just relax it and accept it and be thankful for the things in our lives that maybe be seen as holding us back and flow with them, it's amazing what we can open up our lives to and what we're capable of. That's what I'd like to say about that. Oh God, I do go on a ramble, don't I? I do. Zips. Okay, Marie, my love, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Good morning again to everyone. Listening to every angle that all of you approach it, I'm going to try to take a different one that comes to me as well. But for me, perception and thought are the two most important aspects enabling you to be active and to take control of your life, right?
Yeah.
And perception. Why is perception? I think one of the key one is because depending, first of all, for me, all perception are true because they're my perception, and regardless what anybody else's perception is, at the moment one feels that perception, it is true to that person, right? So for me, that's a very key aspect of that. And why is it so important to be aware of it? Because depending whatever we perceive, we will generate a feeling, an emotional state that itself will start to generate some behavior. And either serve us or not serve us, or makes us anxious or happy. So depending the perception we have of something or someone, we have the power through that perception to get ourselves into a happy state or anxiety state or whatsoever, right? So this is why for me it's so important to try to maybe not take control, but be aware of that. And see, okay, how can I affect it now? Because if I'm aware of that, what can I do? And perception, it's also never so much about the event or the person. It's about the emotional, the experience it refers to, the environment refers to, right? For example, simple example that comes to me, we're talking about, Kate, that you had a storm last night. And as you say that, I was thinking, some people will see a storm and their perception is absolute fear. They're beside themselves. And some of them will associate that with a beautiful terrace, a huge storm, and a book and a blankie and cuddling up under that, and the problem is not the storm. The problem is, what is the perception I've got about the storm? And then it comes to another point, and that would be whether it's at a personal level or at a company level. When I work a lot with the company and in a multicultural environment, which I love, and perception is a key thing in efficiency and harmony to teams. For example, somebody speaking loud coming from, let's say, a Latin country, it's really acceptable to be speaking loud and bubbly and with the ends, etc. And then you're going to put somebody coming from Asia, and they think, why are you raising your voice that much? The one is being friendly, whilst the other one might be perceiving that as something a little bit aggressive, possibly, or a little bit too much. And both in their perception are right. Yeah? But so what I thought is it's really important when we like a perception. I think, Linda, you were mentioning that. When something we perceive and puts us into a good emotional internal state, well, let's just welcome it, right? But the only perception we really want to be aware and try to take control of, or at least have the power to reframe, is when we start to be in an emotional state that maybe not sabotage us, but does not give us the most benefit. And maybe try to think, okay, now how do I make that better? And I like really this. And what if it wasn't that? And what if this person who didn't call me, as you say, Aaron, is just got busy. But actually, I'm upset about it. But that's my perception. What if there's nothing to do with it? I don't know if that resonates with few of you, but for me, the key of the perception is not even to question it, because it really refers to a value system. So either I can try to be aware to change that, or I can indeed work, and that's what as coaches, everybody, all of us would do on LLP. How do we help you to change this internal belief, because that affects your perception? How do you spot the moment where maybe, this might be my interpretation, whilst it's my true one, it might not be the one my interlocutor meant to have, or the event meant to have on me. What if I can change that relation to the event or the person? Then I've changed the whole situation. Yeah. Now, how do we empower you? We've got lots of tools in NLP to empower people to do that.
That's it, Marie. That's wonderful. Absolutely brilliant. And it's like exactly what you just said. It's, this a lot of people's issues or perceptions happened from a certain point. So the question is, when wasn't this a problem? When wasn't this a problem that you were seeing it in this way? Or, you know, when wasn't it a problem? And
when did you decide that?
Exactly, Kate, exactly. And that's the point that you can go back to on the timeline, look at the situation, look what's going on in that picture, and see through those eyes, see what those eyes are seeing, and reframe it, you know. And oh, there's my son talking about. Oh, okay, yeah, excuse me, this is live, liveness.
Nice question. But to add a little bit to that, it's, I think one thing which I find very helpful as well is answer what you said, Aaron. The amount of time, or unfortunately, that wasn't our intention. We were perceived not in the way we meant to act. And it just gives us a lot of tolerance to maybe think that for the one times or the few times or many times, depending, you know, that whatever our action intention was not perceived as to what we intended to do, then it should be enough to give all the benefit of the doubt to the situation, to the environment, or to the way, you know, that maybe people, the way we perceive them or situation is not the way that they intended to be perceived or act or be read. So that's another way to try to maybe be a bit kind to ourselves.
I just had everything goes mad here. Like the dog goes bonkers, the child goes mad, the dad turns up. It's like unexpected. Welcome to my day. And I've got you lot to share it with, so this is a good thing. Right, so Susie, my love, my beautiful Susie, good morning. You look nice, Blue.
Good morning. I'm glad I made it on time.
I'm so glad you're here. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it went so much faster than I thought it would.
Brilliant.
So it was a nice experience. Yeah, it was okay. Thank you. So can you brief me just a moment, a couple of ideas that were shared, so I make a better idea of where I can add something and what can I insist on.
Kate's good at that. Kate, please summarize everything.
Yeah.
Okay, no pressure there. Yeah, we were talking about beliefs and limiting beliefs and the way we see the world can program the way we behave, and also how we see other people, and what we believe they mean isn't necessarily the truth. And so it was about what is the truth and how might we open ourselves up to beyond these beliefs that we hold, because we all have them, we all make them, a lot of them are sort of from past experiences. So it's how we've been programmed up to now, and how might we then open ourselves up to being more flexible in the future about how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we see others. Does that do it, guys?
Yeah, great. Yeah, well,
Susie, what does it mean to you to reframe a situation for a different perception? What does it mean to you?
Well, when I was listening to Marie, I had this thought in mind about perception being somehow opposed to the truth in a way, or the truth and perception are kind of not different, but they're not the same thing. And perception comes through the senses. That's what comes to mind when I think of it. We gather the information through the five senses, and then there is something happening there, falling on a set of beliefs and a set of memories and previous experiences. So we're going to react according to that. But there is a term because we can talk about that a little bit in yoga. We are using this Sanskrit term, which is called viveka, which means discernment, or the ability to really see. So when I talk perception, and we had that conversation a few days ago, Danielle, when I was into a sort of a weird perception and an emotional response to what is going on. And what matters, I think, is to get to fine-tune this instrument which goes beyond perception, which is the instrument of perception of truth. To have that clarity and the discernment between a thought that is worth keeping and a thought that is not worth keeping. To have that awareness of you having a perception of the world or seeing the world through a different lenses. So perception, I don't know if everybody's hearing this noise, but I'm hearing something like a hush sound.
No, all the sound's good today.
Yeah, the sound is good.
I'm muting my mic every time, so no, your sound's perfect to me.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that we can always have that choice on how we look at a certain situation. And we probably all felt that before, when you are experiencing something and all of a sudden you flip from one point of view to another. I don't know if you experienced that, but for me it happened before. Like, it's a rainy day and you feel down, and then all of a sudden there is something happening, or you reach an area on your side, inside yourself, and then all of a sudden you feel happy, and the rainy day doesn't affect you anymore. So this is, I think, the ability to switch from one perception to another. And how do we do that? Well, I think it's a matter of practice and fine-tuning, and simply asking that question, if you have no other resources available, is asking that question: is this true now? Can I validate it now? Can I prove it that it's true now? Or is it important that I prove it that it's right now? Or is it a thought that is worth keeping? Because the reality sometimes puts us into situations and we think, oh my God, it is like that. It is dangerous. It is bad. I'm going to have problems. Yeah. But then if you insist on that thought, then you're going to go down that path of negativity, and of course your experience will change. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what comes to mind.
It does. It really does make sense. Absolutely. And I love that. I love that what you were saying about the body, and you know.
Yeah. So it's a sort of, I'm coming back to my yes thing again, because it is a way to validate the truthfulness of something, and it's a fine tuning. And I'm curious, what is for each of you? How do you recognize something that is true or not? And I was having an interview yesterday with one of my friends, and he mentioned that basically it's an instant state of joy. So I think if a perception gives you a negative feeling and a negative state in your body, it is more than sure then that it is a false belief. It is not the truth. So it feels good is the truth. It doesn't feel good, it's a lie. Because I suspect somehow that inside ourselves, our true nature is joy, and we're meant to be happy. We're meant to experience pleasure and happiness and joy. And when we are moving away from that, is because we are jumping into a lie and into a different perception, like a false perception of what life is about.
That's it. It's lovely. And humor is a big part as well of reframing and perception, because if you can look at things through, you know, humorous eyes and look at the funny side of things, everything always feels better anyway, because we just all want to be happy at the end of the day, really. I mean, who would choose otherwise? Sorry,
I've got a little test to see, does it serve you or does it not?
Go on.
So here's your idea. If I go back to mine, one of the ideas, the presuppositions, the core beliefs could be: men are not trustworthy and never listen and don't understand women. If you can tag on to the end of it, and that's just how I like it, then that highlights whether it is a view that serves you or a view that you need to change.
Love it. And that's just how I like it. And that's just how I like it. Magic words.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to say, Kate, you know, you were talking about that, maybe that little the little magic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just it's like a reframing tool, and there's a brilliant one online which I'll let you know later, and you can publish it maybe, because people can go in and do this for themselves, and
I'd love that.
It's a really brilliant little tool for just reframing things and just looking at things in a different way. But if I just explain how it works, and we can maybe try, if somebody does anyone have something they'd like to just work on? Any of you?
There's always something that I can work on.
Some sort of belief you'd like to change about yourself or the world. Come on, Danielle.
That I won't remember things. That I'm forgetful. I'm forgetful.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I pretty much am.
So I need you now to come up. Just give me 4 reasons why you believe that.
Why I'm forgetful.
Why do you believe that? Just 4 reasons.
4 reasons I believe I'm forgetful.
We'll just pick one.
Because I can walk into a room and forget totally why I've walked in there.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Because I can be in a chain of thought and speaking and forget the reason why I started the talking.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Forgetful. Oh, because I can go out my house and leave something really important behind. If I was going to go and deliver something or post a letter or do something, I could get there and I'd forget the letter. Or
Okay. And what reason do you believe you're forgetful?
the reason I believe I'm
Reason
forgetful.
why? How you know it's true?
Well, it isn't age, because I've always been forgetful.
I've always been. Okay, I've always been forgetful. That's a good one.
There you go. Yeah, I've always been forgetful.
Okay, so let's pick with those then. So now we need to think about what might be the opposite of all of those reasons why. So let's take because I always forget why I've walked in a room. You forget why I walked in a room. So what's the opposite of that?
The opposite.
So instead of I can forget why I walk in the room, you could say I remember why I walk in a room. The opposite.
I remembered that when I walked into the room, I've forgotten something.
Well, you could remember to forget. Yeah, you could, couldn't you? But the opposite, if I forget why I've walked into a room, the opposite of that would be I remember why I walked into a room.
Oh yeah.
We're just picking the opposites now.
Oh,
so the next one would be you forget why you started talking. So the opposite of that would be is I remember.
I remember I started talking.
I always remember why I've started talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I leave things behind when I leave the house. I forget things when I leave the house. So
I always remember everything when I leave the house.
I always remember everything that I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been forgetful. What's the opposite?
I'm never forgetful.
I've never been forgetful.
I've never been forgetful.
Okay, so now I'll read those back to you now, and I need you to think about now what would lead you to believe these things. If you believed all these things, what would the belief be about yourself? Okay, so now just listen to these back to you. I always remember everything I need when I walk into a room. I always remember the reason why I started talking. I always remember everything that I need when I leave the house. And I've never been forgetful. What would you believe? Believing those things, what would the outcome be of that about yourself? Believing all those 4 things.
If I believed it for myself, that would give me an internal strength. It would feel quite strong. It would dissolve something inside me that is that's believing that I'm forgetful. It feels good if I can.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels strong.
It does. Strength.
So if you believed all those to be true, what would the belief be? I am strong and I am, what is the belief? What's the more positive slant you could put on? Not saying I'm not forgetful, but I am what? What are you when you believe all these things about yourself? I'm strong, I'm what? What are you?
Human.
I'm human, yeah.
I'm human. I'm normal.
What else is it? If you're not forgetful, what are you?
Intelligent.
Intelligent. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say instead of I'm forgetful, which was your original belief, and just feeling how that makes you feel inside. I'm forgetful.
Yeah, like a joker, like like it's like another part of me that I can put the blame on, rather
Okay.
than taking responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And where's that part of you inside of you? Where's that? And what does it feel like, that part that you put the blame on?
It's outside. I push it out.
Oh, okay.
I
So
get
it's not.
no,
All right. So
it's
you're
part of
pushing it.
me, but
Yeah.
I'm separating it from who I am. I'm
Oh,
trying
right.
to push it away, the blame.
All right. Okay. That's a bit, I'm feeling quite sad for that part of you. It's getting all this blame.
I don't want it in me.
He just wants to be loved. And then thinking about this other part of you then that is strong and human and normal, but intelligent and has all that power because they remember everything they need to at any time, and it's just there, whatever they were saying, it just comes to mind, and all of that part of you. If you could just be that part more, what part's that, and where is that inside of you, and how do you tap into that when you start feeling maybe?
It's almost, that's very, very, very interesting what you're saying, because it's like that core strength is inside me. It's my core. But it's almost like by what you've just gone through, it's almost like because it is outside me, that's why I'm feeling it. It's almost like I haven't accepted it. It's almost like I'm trying to push it away, but it isn't. It's in me. So where is it in me? That's a very, very good
Where does
thing.
Just ask it, where does it need to be now? That part of you, where does, to get that acceptance and just to be okay with being human and not getting it perfect all the time, and like all of us forgetting what you were going to say next sometimes. That part that could just be, if you could just accept that part of you and let it have some of that strength and that love that it desperately needs, so it can grow. What happens then when you bring that into yourself and give it some of that strength and let it know it's intelligent, let it know it's okay just as it is?
Oh, I love that. Give it some of the power of my core. Or merge it together.
Well, tell it how intelligent it is. Tell it how it's just okay.
And almost that it's like maybe I had to go into the room without that thing for a minute because I was meant to.
Yeah, maybe
and I was meant to go to post that letter. Funnily enough, from that, my granddad was in the war, and his brother went to post a letter. They were in the same army barracks, and my granddad went to post a letter, and his brother was in the barracks, and it was the Second World War. And while my granddad was posting a letter to my grandma, the barracks blew up and everyone was killed. And the only reason why he was outside with that letter to post to my grandma, he was the only one that was saved. Isn't that interesting? It just reminded me of the letter going out. There's a reason to going to post the letter. And if you forgot the letter, there's a reason why you forgot the letter. That's interesting perception. Different reframing, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's all reframing what we do, isn't it? We're changing programming. And so, what if you just accepted this part of you, didn't beat it up so much? Maybe it would allow that intelligence in, and you could just relax and remember what you wanted to remember, if you really need to remember it.
Yeah.
What if you just relaxed and didn't push it out from you and just accepted it in as just a part of you that's just human?
Yeah, like it. Thanks, Kate. That's great. I'm going to try that. Next time it happens, I'm going to check in where that is and just accept it a bit.
And just notice how you program yourself. How often do you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm just so stupid, I just forgot this," or how often do you just reinforce that feeling that it's a bad feeling, a bad thing about you?
Yeah.
And what if you accept, Danielle, what if you accepted it a lot? You said you could accept it a bit. And what if you could accept it a lot?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I love you guys. It's like being reborn every Tuesday and Friday. I love you all so much. Thank you. I'm going to try that. Thanks, Kate. That's an amazing technique. That is. And so anyone watching, have a go at that and just rewind and play that again, because that's just brilliant. So
well, I'll give you the link, because there's a little animated thing and you can fill it in as you do it online. It's brilliant, and it automatically generates things for you, other ideas and things based on the words you put in. It's a fabulous reframing tool. So I'll let you know.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, I'll list it in the notes afterwards. Oh my gosh! And yet again, 8 minutes to go. Right, who's going to speak? Someone else speak. Who wants to speak? Has anyone else got anything to say or to do?
Maybe in connection to what Susanna said about how to move from a negative perception to a positive, and you talked about music, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll mute myself trying to stop the reverb.
Yeah, and just instantly thought about different ways to raise one's vibration to get better perspective. So, and then we are in a better position to look at things, in an empowering way. So, for example, walking is said to be one of the best tools. If you have a problem, you take it out for a walk, and let the problems disappear and solutions emerge, because you give your emotional part of your brain a little break. And exercise, obviously, walking in nature. So I just wanted to
bring that in. Yeah, that's true.
So a couple of tools, different tools. Could be gratitude, or helping somebody in need, anything that raises the vibration, and then revisit that perception, and you're in a better state of mind to change it.
Yeah, lovely. That's so true. Yeah, because we haven't mentioned exercise, and the fact that you do go for a walk literally does give you that mind shift that you need to be able to look at things. And also when we go on walks and stuff, sometimes you'll come up with the answers to anything that you've been asking, consciously or subconsciously. The answers will just pop into your head, and then when you recognize those answers, they're powerful answers. They're being given to you from energy or source energy, or your soul, or from whatever you believe in. That's the answers that you're looking for, even if you weren't even looking for them. The power of the universe. I love it.
It's also,
sorry.
I said the fact you also get detached. Oh, sorry, Susanna, go for it. Go. Bouncing on what the two of you are saying, to going for a walk or exercise, it also detached enable one to detach oneself from the perception. And then just disconnect. It's almost like you dissociate yourself from that, because your body is now engaged into something completely different.
Yeah.
And you just shifting that even the energy that you are giving, but all the response that you are giving into your body, endorphin you're creating in that body by moving, that itself is shifting that perception, or at least disconnecting it to the moment, so that when you review it, it's different. And you also move on too often into alpha mode. I mean, that also enables you to get different thoughts coming to you, and not just the mental, but deeper inside.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, absolutely. Susanna,
two quick comments. Firstly, when you said that you are forgetful, the thought that I had in mind was that actually it's good that you stop the mind. So that's another way to reframe it, because the mind is the source of suffering. So basically you're there, you just are there, what is available. So that's another way to look at it. But I think another way to reframe is through working with pictures. So if we do this quickly, what would be the picture of you for being forgetful? Because we can take that picture and add something really funny to it and make it look like ridiculous. If you saw Harry Potter's movies, The Ridiculous Game, you're playing. So what would be the picture of you?
Forgetting something.
Yeah. That's... You like to work with some modalities. So do you see it big or small? Is it close to you? Is it further away from you? Where do you see that picture?
Big. It's big, and it's there. It's there.
And do you see it in colors or in black and white?
Color.
Color. All right. And do you have a feeling in the body when you look at it?
Comedy.
All right.
Comedy. Like, for goodness sake, not again.
Yeah, and what can you add to that picture? You can change anything you want, colors, light, add music to it, anything you wish to make it funny and to make it less serious to you right now. Look at it well.
I could put myself in a clown outfit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? But look at it well until it really makes you laugh.
I'm laughing. Myself in a clown outfit and have the dog doing this throughout my legs. Figure 8. Throughout my legs. That's quite funny.
Yeah, very good. So now you can take that picture and make it a little bit smaller because it's important to keep that image for now.
Okay.
Make it smaller. Take your hands, use your hands and make it smaller.
Yeah.
Do it now with me. Yeah, make it smaller. Yeah, shrink it a little bit to a size that feels like more reasonable for you now. And you can take it and put it somewhere on the side or even behind you somewhere beyond the horizon line. And then you can pick it when you need it, but you know that that image has been transformed. And every time you laugh, I was saying exactly the reverse. Every time you're forgetting, you can laugh about it. And that would actually bring forth what you needed to do in the instant. What if that moment can become for you a moment when you remember actually what you were looking for or why you were in that room?
Oh, so I love that, because now I'm thinking about it and all I see is me in a clown outfit with the dog going in my legs. That's really funny. I can't get rid of that picture now. That's it.
Make it, well, then move it. Move it.
Move it away. Hold on, let's go over there somewhere. It's going over there. It can stay there. Yeah, we're good with that. Okay. Thanks, Susie. Thank you, darling. Okay, right. Well, it's 2 minutes to go. So, anyway,
could I just?
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah. Can I just finish off? So I think the takeaway, because we've all had lovely things to add, but the takeaway is you are not locked into your beliefs that don't serve you. That's what we are stating here in all different ways, isn't it? You do not have to keep them. They're not truth, so you don't have to keep them. And there are all these ways we've talked of that you can let them go, change them, transform them, reframe them.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly lovely. That's perfect to end on as well, Linda. Yeah. So just take what you need. Go back and read this. Anyone that's watching, please like, subscribe, check everybody out that's doing this, because everyone is so incredible, and all your websites are listed, both scrolling and also below as well. I'm gonna list it all below. Come and join us every Tuesday, Friday. We're here to help each other, and we're helping ourselves as well, trust me. So we're just grateful to be here all together and to help as many people as we can to get through this situation. So yes, I hope to see you again. Remember, raise your vibration, be the light, and see you on Friday. Oh my gosh, see you Friday. I'm going to end stream now, and I'll be with you guys. Hold on, end broadcast.